Hello.
There.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Yeah, great. Yeah, looking forward to talking about some nature.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's my first ever Zoom presentation, so it's going to be
Wow.
really tense. I
Well, I think we look like nice people. I think it'll be good.
yeah, yeah. It was one of the things on my New Year's resolutions thing actually to do something like this. So when Anne Law, suggested the whatever she called it, accelerator thing, I was like, okay, there's no excuses now.
Love it. Well, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, great. I was terrified that no one would show up at all. So thank you all for coming. It's really nice to see you.
Don't worry, because I'm holding an event like 2 weeks from now, and I have the same fear. So I completely understand you.
Yeah, part of me was I wasn't really promoting it to sort of people I know, because that would be even more scary. I just sort of want to, like, the Nest Labs community is so nice, that I thought, let's just not shout about it too much, see how this goes, and then see if I want to do it again ever. So yeah, thanks for coming. I'll get cracking because yeah, like I say, this is my first time doing anything like this, so I have no idea how long it's going to really take. It seems to be about 45 minutes, but yeah, who knows. Right. Admin, I have to share a screen, don't I? Cool. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yep, great. Okie dokie. So yeah, thanks for all for coming. My name's David Charles, and I'm a writer and outdoor leader. And
David, quick thing. We can actually see your notes.
oh, can we? Oh, that's embarrassing, isn't it?
No, it's not embarrassing.
Read along if you like. Okay.
It's actually good tips for people like me who are still debating like what to present and how to present for the creator thing. So yeah, thank you for that.
It didn't do that yesterday, so that's interesting. Let's try again.
I think you can select like which app to share on Zoom.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought I was doing. But then I got scared because my Firefox was playing up, so I'm using Chrome now. But I'm guessing.
Yep, this looks better now.
Now you can see it again.
Well, we see the PowerPoint and we see presenter view.
Yeah. Okay.
Your notes.
Great. I will go back to Firefox. For some reason, that's not working. And you do not want to read my notes. Thanks, guys. This is exactly why I wanted to do it with you people. The joys. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's see. Can you see my notes now?
No.
No? Sure?
Sure.
Great. It worked.
Yeah.
Ooh. So turns out Chrome isn't great for me. Oh my God. Okay. Right. We're back.
Now we can see them.
See them again. What the
Yeah.
hell? What is going on? Okay, maybe it's
Now it's gone.
yeah, it's because oh god. Right. Oh no. Now what have I done? Right. I think it might be when I'm going full screen then. Maybe.
Yeah, now we don't see it.
Now you don't see it. Okay, good to know. I won't try going full screen again. Anyway, I'm a writer and outdoor leader. And basically the last year of pandemic-ness has reinforced to me and probably to a lot of people how important nature is to our physical and mental health. And obviously at the moment, I can't do any of my outdoor leading because of lockdown. I'm in the UK, by the way, where we are on full-on lockdown. So I can't do that. So yeah, I'm just basically trying to help people go on adventures as much as they can in whatever way they can. So yeah, cool that Anne Law's got this little thing going on. So yeah, so there'll be bits of me talking about the evidence base for the benefits of nature, but there'll also be some sort of little practical things that hopefully will be fun and will kind of, I guess, hopefully show you how we can get these benefits both outside, obviously, but also inside, because I just came out of like a 7-day isolation period and it was not fun. And then, yeah, if you've got any questions, then yeah, it's pretty chilled. So just shout. Right, next slide, please. So basically this whole workshop is an answer to this quote from John Muir, who was a 19th, 20th century naturalist. And this really resonates with me. I'm losing precious days. I'm degenerating into a machine for making money. I must break away and get out into the mountains to learn the news. This is me as a knowledge worker, and especially during a pandemic when it's so easy to feel like we're losing precious days. But I don't know where you guys are living. I can't get out into the mountains. I'm living in a town. I can just see out of my window lots of buildings, and I'm really lucky that I've got the sea, but it's about as far from wilderness of the John Muir variety as I could get, pretty much. So yeah, so this presentation is basically an answer to the question, what about the rest of us, John? It's all right for you. And I guess I'm here to tell you the good news, which is that the science suggests that all of us can get many of the benefits of nature from pretty much anywhere, including inside our own homes and if you're desperate in front of the television as well. So yeah, if you're up for it, I'd like to sort of begin with a 2-minute exercise that came from a paper published in 2009. So if you can make this image as big as possible on your screens, I won't make it big on my screen because then bad things will happen. And just kind of, yeah, look into this image for a couple of minutes and I'll take you through a sort of immersion exercise. Okay, let's begin. Imagine yourself in this place. Look around, noticing all aspects of the environment. Pay attention to the colors. Notice the textures. Imagine yourself breathing in the air. Notice any smells that may be present. Imagine any sounds you may hear. Let yourself take in all the aspects of the environment in front of you. Okay, that's it. I don't know if any of you want to share if you felt anything or if you didn't, or if it reminded you of anything or where you went in your mind, or yeah, anything if you'd like to share. It'd be interesting to hear before I reveal what they found in the study. Did you want to say something, Elaine?
Yeah, I just think, I mean, nature is like super therapeutic. And even on the screen, I kind of felt a sense of ease, you know, like being in a place where there's so much beauty to look at. And I feel like every time I look at the picture, I see something different, which is just like, you know, life is about exploring and observing and being present. So yeah, it's powerful.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, and also credit to Alain Siddiqui on Unsplash. I spent about an hour looking for great images. Anyone else want to share anything at all? No. So the study found that this 2 minutes looking at this image increased people's intrinsic aspirations, which is science speak for made people more caring about each other, brought them closer to strangers, and more generous, more willing to help people. And the other condition in the study was spending 2 minutes exactly the same staring at an image of a cityscape. And they found that looking at that image compared to the nature increased their extrinsic aspirations. So people were more focused on things like wealth and fame. So nature makes us very sociable, apparently. So yeah, and that's only 2 minutes looking at this image. There are what's cool about a lot of the science is that because you can't, it's quite hard, it's quite messy to do science out in nature. So lots of very clever scientists have tried to find ways of bringing it into the lab. So a lot of the studies that have been done, a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about have been replicated using photographs of nature like this or videos of nature. Particularly anything by David Attenborough is very good. So yeah, or depressingly, actually, a lot of the studies on ore are done with adverts. So when you see like a car advert and the car's driving through the Grand Canyon or whatever, that's because it will make you feel good and make you buy the car. So yeah. Slightly depressing. So another study done on photographs, for example, was 10 minutes viewing a slideshow of nature photographs, improved people's executive attention, so their ability to focus and concentrate. So photographs, cool, particularly if you can't go outside. So yeah, I'll just take you really quickly through some of the science that I've been researching. There's a lot here, and if you're interested in digging deeper, then I'll give some resources at the end. But here's a sort of top 5 what nature can do for you. So reducing anxiety and work stress is a big one for me, definitely. So there was a famous study in 2011 done on forest walking, and they found that a 2-hour forest walk would significantly reduce anxiety in office workers in Japan. Then a later study in 2015 found that just a 50-minute walk would also reduce anxiety. So the effect is dose dependent. It decreases anxiety, rumination, and your bad feelings, basically. In terms of reducing work stress, there was a study in Korea done that looked at whether people could see a forest through their office window or not. And not surprisingly, job stress and job satisfaction was correlated with whether or not they could see nature through their window, which for me is a bit awkward because I've got a town here, so I have to like angle myself this way to see the sea at least. This is a cool one. Can improve our creativity and our idea quality, as well as working memory and attention. So that I don't know if we've got any scientists in the room, but I love this study. It was done on using a task called Barron's symbolic equivalence task, which is essentially the ability to find novel, creative analogies from a prompt. So you would get a prompt like a candle burning low, and your job is to come up with as many analogies to that image as you can. So one of the responses in the study was a candle burning low is like the last hand of a gambler's last game. And this Barron's symbolic equivalence task, famous authors basically score really highly on this. So it's a fairly robust study of creativity. And this 2014 study found that compared to sitting indoors, sitting outside, just as simple as that, just outside, not in an urban environment, but in a garden, increased people's high quality novel analogies by 2.5 times. And walking outside increased it 4 times. So that's a pretty big effect size.
Good. I don't know if you know this, but when we say walking in nature, so like say you live in like Manhattan or like somewhere not with tons of trees, like is it about fresh air or is it about like the environment and the trees and the green and the colors, or is it just like getting outside? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does it matter really where?
Yeah, it does.
Oh shit.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it needs to be green and ideally trees. Trees are great because there's an effect of the fractal imagery of a tree canopy. There's a study's been done on that, which is really cool. So yeah, later on I recommend staring up at a tree canopy for a minute. But awesome. If you are in a city, there's a resource called Treepedia, which if you're in New York, then I'm pretty sure they've done New York, which uses Google Street Map imagery data to analyze how green a certain street is. So you can go onto your area of Manhattan or wherever and find the greenest streets, and then you could just walk up and down them.
I'll send everyone I just went to it. It looks so cool. Thanks.
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing to look out for on Treepedia is that it doesn't, because it's Google Street for you, and the Google cars or whatever, they don't go into parks. So you also remember that there are parks. And yeah, a park with trees is your best bet. And yeah, a lot of these studies were comparing for example, at Stanford, they did a lot of studies between walking in the Stanford Arboretum and walking in the city. And the effect is always negative for walking in a city street and positive for walking in nature, unfortunately. So yeah, it's not just going outside, sadly. It's all about the trees. Yeah, with creativity though, actually, specifically, I should say, walking is good for creativity independently of nature as well. Nature just gives it a boost, basically. So you could even get yourself a treadmill, a treadmill desk. That works. So yeah, and then working memory and attention. So this was the Arboretum study. They found that a 50-minute walk through the Arboretum, the natural environment, improved people's attention by about 20% compared to a walk in the city. But interestingly, that's independent of how you're feeling, your mood, and also the weather. Like you might think that if it's raining, you're not going to have the positive effects, but that doesn't seem to be true, which is quite cool. So nature also restores the immune system and can improve your sleep. So when we're out in trees, particularly, we breathe in all the trees sort of immune system as well. They eject these things called phytoncides, which are the tree's natural defense against attack, and we breathe them in, and they also boost our own immune system as well. And if you want to get your hands dirty, one of the reasons why gardening is so good is because there's bacteria in the soil that also promote our sense of well-being. Very cool study done injecting these bacteria into lung cancer patients, and they found that it didn't necessarily improve their recovery times and things, but improved their well-being, so their life satisfaction. And yeah, the theory is basically that these positive emotions that we get from the phytoncides and the bacteria and things reduce the level of inflammation in our immune system, and yeah, that improves our our health, basically. As one of the big dogs in this field is a guy called Ching Li, who's written an excellent book about the topic, and he says there's no medicine you can take that has such a direct influence on your health as a walk in a beautiful forest. So find that city forest if you can. In terms of sleep, the same 2011 study I mentioned earlier, they were actually looking at sleep. So it massively reduced people's anxiety, this 2-hour walk, particularly in the afternoon, and that led to an increase in sleep duration and sleep quality as well. In the study, it was people with mild insomnia, and they slept an extra 2 hours after their forest walk, which is pretty amazing. And finally, the clickbaity bit. Nature can make you feel wealthier, healthier, and younger. So very cool study done in Toronto, Canada, which found that they basically did a huge survey of the whole city and counted the number of trees on each block, and then measured people's perception of their own health. And they found that if your block has 10 more trees, then your health perception goes up in a way that's comparable to as if you'd been given $10,000 or been magically made 7 years younger. So the moral of that story is plant more trees. Like, that's an easy win, surely. Just make people feel younger and richer. Cool. So very quickly, again, nobody really knows for sure why nature has this effect on us. There are two main theories. The first one is quite simply that being out in nature is a restful activity for us, helps us recover from stress, and that fairly obviously makes us perform better. Both our immune system performs better, our creative brains perform better, and so on. It's nothing more than recovering from stress, basically. This is sort of based on the idea of biophilia, which was this idea that humans have a natural positive response to our natural environment, which kind of makes sense in an evolutionary sense. So yeah, so nature's just relaxing. The second theory, which I personally find more intriguing, is the attention restoration theory. So this idea that particularly at the moment, like more and more of us live in an urban environment which is very demanding on our attention. Likewise, particularly for knowledge workers, like in a screen constantly, which is very demanding of our attention. And the theory goes that we essentially have a limited supply of ability to focus, and going out in nature is the other type of attention that we have, like an unfocused attention, and spending time in nature triggers this unfocused attention, which then means that our focused attention can kind of build back up its stocks, and so when we go back to the screen, we feel refreshed. So yeah, for me, I spend 8 to 10 hours a day in front of a screen, every day, including weekends, which yeah, is pretty draining, and I'm not alone. So nature is a way that we can restore our attention capacities, along with other things as well, like sleep and meditation. But the theory is that nature has an aesthetic advantage when it comes to attention restoration, and by capturing our indirect attention through stimuli that are softly fascinating. I really like this concept of soft fascination, and it's things like watching a sunset, or watching the clouds go by, or rain falling into a puddle, or something like that. You know, these experiences that I'm sure we've all had, where you're kind of transfixed by nature for a moment. Anyway, these are the two theories, and there's great evidence to support both of them. They could both be accurate. But for me, yeah, like I said, the attention restoration theory captures something more about nature, in my experience. Like zoning out in front of the sea, watching the waves come in, is very different to me from zoning out in front of the television. Anyway, that's my evidence and theory chat. I would like to kind of work together now and see if I can help you find your nearby nature. So at the ready, a little bit of a workshopy element. This might be way too obvious for you guys, but let's give it a go. So these are both Google Map views. Obviously, the one on the left is pretty much useless for us. The one on the right is brilliant. It's really useful. So like my house is down in the bottom left, and I can just immediately see where the green bits are. It's a really great, like, to switch on satellite view, to turn off the ugly labels in Google Maps, and to just really explore the local area and find bits of green that you never have before. Another tool that I've used is this one. So it's sort of a radius finder, particularly at the moment where we're, like, I'm not sure where you are, but we're not really supposed to travel outside our local area. So I've got here a 5 kilometer ring and a 3 kilometer ring. So then I can explore again in satellite view, areas of nature that maybe I haven't visited before within my range. It's also cool because you can put another ring up for your friends, so you can see where you overlap and intersect and then meet in a nice park somewhere. Is anyone in the UK? No, I'll skip over that. But you might find that your national mapping service do something similar, which in the UK, the OS Maps people have created a green space layer. So it really highlights all the green space that you can access, but I won't talk about that. Cool, yeah, I'd just like you to spend a few minutes like on Google Maps, if that's your thing, or whatever mapping service you have, and yeah, try to find a green space within your local area that you haven't explored before. I'm going to do it as well because I love finding new places. So I'll just give a few minutes for that, if that's all right. Any luck? Did you? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else, but I managed to find a river round the back of a supermarket that I've not seen before. So next time I go up there, I'm going to check that out. um, did any of you guys find anything good?
Yeah, we thought like, oh, but we already know everything that is around, but no, we didn't. Check in the satellite view, and yes, and we found maybe we will have to jump some trees to arrive there, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that tomorrow we will try to go there.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Where are you guys?
We are in Bali,
In where?
in Bali, Indonesia.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool. Nice. So it'll be kind of jungly?
Yes, this is what we are looking for.
Amazing. Cool. All right. So what should we do when we get there is the question. So just a few ideas based on the research that I mentioned earlier. So the first one is to get the most out of our nature, we should develop this soft fascination. So yeah, staring at stuff basically, whether that's a sunset or a sunrise or the waves or clouds, or paying attention to the wind in the trees, or if you're allowed, I don't know, maybe on the beach or something in Bali. A campfire is great. Like the flames are a soft fascination dream. Or listening to bird song or the sound of a river going past. Or if you're in the forest, the way light plays on the forest floor when it's coming through trees, awesome. The second thing we can do is to walk. Like I mentioned earlier, walking is sort of an amplifier for when we're out in nature, but do it slowly. And take rests whenever you feel like it. I know certainly for me, in coming from sort of an urban environment where people tend to like walk really, really fast, it can be hard to switch that off and go into like a more natural contemplative mode. Feel free to take off your shoes, take a flask of tea, or pick up some souvenirs like a nice leaf or some pine cones or seashells or whatever, and then you can bring that into your home. I've got a little collection of nature bits that I've picked up. I once actually accidentally brought in a live animal. I've forgotten what it was. It was a limpet, a cluster of limpets, so like 5 limpets stuck to each other. I just thought it was a pretty shell and it was alive and moving, so I quickly took him back. So don't bring anything alive home. Yeah, another thing we can do, mentioned earlier, meditation is also really great for attention restoration, and one meditation that's great for the outdoors is a 5-4-3-2-1 sensory meditation. So noticing 5 things in your environment with your eyes, 4 things that you can feel on your skin, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. Really easy to remember. Like, it doesn't matter if you get the senses mixed up and notice 5 things you can hear or whatever. And it can take, 2 minutes, it can take 20 minutes, depending how deep you want to go. It's a really nice one to do in nature. And then think about whether you're going on your own or with a friend, however many friends you're allowed to see at the moment. And basically, if you're after creativity, then the research suggests that going on your own might be best. If you're just there for like the well-being and attention restoration and stuff, then going with a friend seems to be best, if you can, if you're allowed. And then think about how long you're going to go out in nature for. As I mentioned earlier, nature is dose dependent. So like we saw, 10 minutes works, 50 minutes works, 2 hours works. And the all these wonderful things can happen if you can spend longer and longer, like in a sort of wilderness environment. But for us, that's probably not possible. So don't worry if you think you've only got 10 minutes to get outdoors. That's also great. Cool. This is my favorite bit. Finding your tree mentor. I really believe that everyone can use a mentor, right? Whether that's at work or in our personal lives, someone just to listen to us and keep us grounded, and just someone older and wiser than us probably. And what beings can there be who are older and wiser than the trees, right? So we'll just do this one real quick together. Like, don't think about it too much. And prepare to meet your mentor. Maybe you already have a mentor, a tree mentor, that is. So just 30 seconds, just kind of maybe using the new places that you found earlier. Just think of a potential tree mentor who you could go and visit in your nearby area, or if you can't think of one specifically, then maybe just a few candidates and you can go and try them out. Maybe write it down. And if you've got that, come up with a name for your tree mentor. Again, don't think about it too much. Maybe inspiration won't strike you now. Maybe you have to go and visit your mentor first, in which case just call it Dave. I find having a name helps, it feels more polite if you can greet your tree. And finally, grab your calendar or your diary or whatever and block out some time to go for this first meeting, your first one-to-one. Like it says, I recommend at least 20 minutes as a first kind of dose. And obviously you have to get there and back. So it's kind of a lunch break activity, maybe. Cool. And then I'll share a link to the slides if you guys want this, but I've drawn up a little agenda for your first meeting. Feel free to pick and choose elements, don't worry about it. But it can be cool to find out what the species of the tree is. See if you can solve that mystery, because I find it really hard and I've been doing it for years. But it's quite fun, like picking around, especially depending on where you are. But at the moment it's it's kind of coming into spring, so it's a bit easier. But over winter you have to really dig around in the undergrowth trying to find last year's leaves and things and matching it up with the tree, and it's quite a fun little mystery to play. And what does it feel like to be with your tree? So how does it feel, touch, smell, and so on? And this is what I mentioned earlier with the fractals. Just try staring up into the canopy for a minute or so. See if you can. The first time I did it, I sort of set my watch and was staring up for what I felt was ages, and it turned out to be about 40 seconds. So I had to do it again. See if you can work out how old the tree is. You can kind of try hugging the tree depending on how big it is, and then that can give you an idea of the girth, and then you can use some online tools to work out how old your tree might be. Is it healthy? Is it hosting any birds or bugs that you can find? In the UK, we have oaks, which can host about 2,500 other species, which is incredible, but probably nothing on a tropical forest. So you should be able to find some great bugs. Are there any other trees nearby? Does it have any friends, or is it, if you're in a street environment, maybe it's kind of on its own with like lots of concrete around it. And hypothetically speaking, take a look at your tree and try and figure out how you might climb it. And then if you're feeling great, go and climb it. So that's just an idea of an agenda for you for this first one-to-one. It'd be really cool if you sort of make it a habit. I've got a few little friends out there who I go and visit, and yeah, keeps me rooted. So before I go on to talking about bringing stuff indoors, I do just want to touch on some of the challenges about nature, because yeah, there's some gross stuff as well. So firstly, all of the stuff that I've mentioned is science. So some people don't respond positively to nature at all. For some people it's scary. Woody Allen once said, I love nature, I just don't want to get any of it on me. So some people just react badly. And also it's worth saying, like I've presented this as like a thing to like make you potentially more productive and stuff, but I feel a bit uncomfortable with that myself, because we shouldn't really use something as amazing as nature as like a sticking plaster for a systematic problem. And obviously our capitalist productivity is also doing quite a lot to destroy that nature as well. So something to consider. Also, gender was an issue that came up in the research as well, in that women tended to find woodlands and forests particularly more threatening than men do. And so as a consequence, they're less likely to be walking alone in those environments because of a greater fear of crime. Having said that, though, there's an upside. All the effects I've mentioned so far apply equally to men and women, but women are actually more likely to appreciate the aesthetics of nature, report positive emotions, and also find forests awe-inspiring, which is a great emotion to have. So it's something that came up and is worth being aware of. And finally, access to nature is unfortunately correlated with socioeconomic inequality. So the wealthiest people live in the greenest environments, which is sad and unfair, particularly at the moment when we can't travel, obviously, very far. And in the UK, Europe and US, access to nature in cities at least is also correlated with ethnicity. So the whitest people live in the greenest areas of the city. And yeah, finally, like I guess coronavirus has brought a lot of people outside, which is great, but can cause overcrowding in a lot of our beauty spots, which is obviously not great for the beauty spots, and it's also not great for our health. So yeah, stay safe. Whatever your local authority tells you to do is probably the right thing to do. So yeah, so with those challenges in mind, and certainly remembering the fact that I spend 8 to 10 hours staring at my screen indoors, I wanted to look at how we might bring the natural world into our office space, basically. So how we might rewild our workstation. So 6 ways that I use. One is the obvious, houseplants. So one of the studies I mentioned earlier on attention restoration used houseplants in an office and showed that it helped people perform better on cognitive tasks. So actually, as well as increasing those intrinsic aspirations, and they're great for air purification. So actually, earlier this week, I went and bought just to see how much it would cost. So the recommendation is that you have 3 to 4 houseplants per person in a house. And that costs, so I bought 4 plants, which you might be able to see behind me. And that cost me £38, which I think is a bargain. So highly recommended. As we saw earlier as well, you can use images of nature to help with things like stress recovery, increasing pro-social behavior, and reducing inflammation, so your health as well. Sounds of nature. I don't know if you heard the bird song that I played earlier, but that also helps with stress recovery, reducing mind wandering, which is also associated with low mood, and reducing pain and anxiety. So some experiments done on post-operative patients, and yeah, chilling them out basically by playing them some bird song. It's quite cool. I also didn't bring this in, I meant to, but I really recommend a scent diffuser, using that with tree oils, so that you can get these phytoncides that I mentioned earlier, which stimulate the immune system, and have been shown to reduce blood pressure and heart rate as well, and improve your mood. I don't know if you can see it, I'll bring it over, but I grabbed this, they chopped down some trees near to me because they fell over in the wind, and I grabbed this lump of pine, and every day to test whether I've got coronavirus or just to calm me down, I smell it, and it's fabulous. So yeah, you don't have to necessarily buy a scent diffuser, you can just grab a lump of wood. Yeah, really lovely. I love it. I use my scent diffuser before going to bed for about half an hour, and it just really chills me out. Another thing you can do is change your view. So there's not a huge amount I can do with my view, but maybe your office space, or maybe you're not making the most of the views in your house. Like a completely unscientific anecdote, but when I was growing up, my mum had a downstairs office that looked out over the road, and my dad had an upstairs office at the back of the house that looked over our very nice garden. And guess who felt more stressed at work? Completely unscientific. I wish someone had studied it, because it was like a 20-year longitudinal study. It was the perfect environment. But yeah, certainly my mum gets more agitated about her computer. That's all I can say. So yeah, so another thing you can do, so yeah, your view can affect your stress recovery. And then another cool thing, I don't know if any of you use a standing desk. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm currently standing up. And compared to sitting, standing has been shown to improve stress levels whilst working, and also increase your enthusiasm for a task, which is really interesting, as well as improving your attention, and also your creativity. This is compared to sitting in an indoor environment. And then I'd also say that there are lots of things that you might be able to do at work, where you can take your laptop outside into a garden or a park or something, even if it's only for an hour, or take a notebook if you have to, you need to brainstorm something. Yeah, why not? And just get outside for walks. And finally, my little nature table, which I really love, but there's absolutely no science behind that at all. It's just something fun that I do. So yeah, we're actually rattling towards an hour. So I might skip I was going to force you to do one thing now to rewild your workstation, but maybe you can do that later. But yeah, if you don't have many plants, or if your plants are sort of all in the kitchen or something, I'd recommend bringing them around you to where you spend most of your time, because they're great. Yeah, and I want to leave some time, so I'll finish there. And thank you very much. There are 3 slides at the end, if anybody's interested in sort of further research, and some apps which may or may not be useful depending on where in the world you are. But yeah, if you guys have got any questions or or want to sort of share your own experiences with nature and how you use nature, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, David, for this presentation, because I think we all know that nature is important, but I didn't know that there was so many scientific studies to prove it. So this really encourages me, and also my girlfriend. I think we both agree that the importance of nature, and I think we are not capitalizing on that, living where we live, where nature is quite accessible, but we don't go there often enough. So I think after knowing all of this, we have some things to change.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you so much for opening our eyes.
Yeah. Oh, cool. You're very welcome. I mean, I really only scraped the very surface as well. There's so much there. The only thing I'd say about forest environments is it is possible to find nature scary, and then it doesn't have the positive effects. So yeah, you know better than I do what your environment is like, but stay safe. Anyone else? Any other
Yeah,
thoughts?
thank you so much, David, for doing this. It was really helpful, and I knew a little bit about nature, and I'm like a bird watcher and nature photographer, and I interact with nature pretty frequently. But even then, I wasn't aware of like the so many diverse aspects of nature that you have pointed out, and so it was absolutely mind blowing to know all of that stuff. So thanks very much for that. I had a
Thank you.
quick question for you, actually, though. You mentioned somewhere about sleep and walking in nature, increasing the sleep time. And I was just wondering if it was just nature, or it's also incorporates, aspects of like sounds of nature. Uh, like just to give you a context, like recently, like for the last couple of months, I've incorporated like playing some white noise from YouTube during my sleep times, and I usually play like either rain sounds or sounds of like birds chirping and that kind of thing, and it has greatly improved my sleep quality and sleep duration and all. And so I was just wondering if there is a connection between the two.
So do you play it whilst you're sleeping then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I haven't seen any studies specifically on sound and sleep, but definitely there are lots of studies on naturalistic sounds like rain and birdsong and things like that, showing drops in stress and anxiety. So that would make total sense that would improve your sleep. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen anything specifically on playing it whilst you're asleep, but definitely it would relax you sort of as you're falling asleep, or in the hour before you go to bed. But I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find anything and let you know. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be great, actually. Just wondering on top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good idea for a study if no one's done it before.
Well, David, this was awesome. Great job. I learned a lot. And I think like really practical tips. I really like the idea of a tree mentor. I actually admittedly took a screenshot of your advice, and then I'm currently in like a desert area. So there's more like shrubs. And it's winter, so even worse. But I like really like that idea of kind of like a little oasis for you to go to. And I think that's like just really practical and awesome. So thanks.
Oh, pleasure. Whereabouts are you? Where's your dad?
So I'm in New Mexico right now, in the States.
Breaking Bad territory.
Exactly. We don't live in Manhattan anymore, and we're staying here for an extended period of time, isolating in the sun. So
Wow, nice.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know anything. That's not true, actually. There was a study that I came across. So there have been quite a lot of studies done in Utah on desert environments there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's actually quite a good one because let's see if I can explain. So deserts are quite like cities in the way that in the pure data that comes
Yeah.
into our eyes. Like a desert is fairly featureless and can be fairly featureless in the way that a road can be, and concrete.
Yes.
But what was interesting is that people still found effects that being in deserts was better than being in cities.
Yeah, it's interesting because where right now there's some beautiful mountain ranges around us, but it's all rock. I mean, it's not there, and there's some red rock here, which is, I mean, majestic and really beautiful, but there's nothing like just like deep forest. And I was looking at the map, I was like, oh no, there's not much green here, really. But that's so interesting. I'd love to look more into that.
Yeah, but also, I don't know if you have like creeks and stuff. If you can find water,
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Water is great as well, because so I always thought this was pseudoscience, but apparently not. But I don't know if you've come across negative ions before. This idea that air is charged either positively or negatively, and water creates a negative charge. So you can get machines that will ionize your air for you, or you can go.
I have seen that actually, like on fans and stuff. They have the ionized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like some kind of way of getting you to pay an extra $50 for something. I don't know, but apparently we feel more rested and alert in negatively charged air, and water does that for you.
Oh, good to know.
So yeah, streams or rivers or lakes or waterfalls or.
Awesome.
And New Mexico must be amazing for sunsets.
Oh my God.
So you
True.
can definitely dig into some soft fascination there.
Yes,
and
definitely. Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I mean, it really skims the surface. I'm glad that, I'm glad you guys got something out of it. That's really nice to hear. Where are you, by the way, Surav? I didn't ask.
I'm at the moment in Calcutta in India.
Okay, nice. I was watching the England-India test match earlier.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're into cricket, but
yeah, I mean, every Indian kind of has to be in cricket when growing up. Like, this is the only sports where we can do something.
Fair.
So, but yeah. I mean, Calcutta is interesting because, like, when I when I was growing up, like, there were lots of greenery, but now, like, it's a entirely concrete covered and kind of dirty and poor city. So it's like hard to find any nature anywhere anymore.
Oh no! What are your options? Is there a zoo?
Yeah, there's a zoo, but I mean, it's also one of the most densely populated places on the planet. So, like, it's extraordinarily crowded.
Yeah, I didn't. So I tested my little workshopy thing. Obviously, where I live in Bournemouth, but also I used to live in Cairo. So I don't know. I've no idea how Calcutta compares to Cairo, but Cairo is a pretty densely populated, horrible city. But I was able, using the satellite view, to find like tiny little pockets of like 4 trees in like a square or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck. I'd love to know how you get on if you manage to find some little oasis somewhere nearby.
Yeah, sure. Whereabouts in UK are you in?
I'm on the south coast, in a place called Bournemouth.
Okay. Yeah, I lived in Oxford for a couple of years. So.
Oh, nice. That was where I grew up, near Oxford.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, very green.
It's beautiful.
I got fun, but it was nice meeting you all.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah. I should go.
Nice meeting everyone.
That was lovely. You're a great audience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye.